All right, we've all been told the story of good versus bad cholesterol, right? But what if that's not the whole picture? What if the so-called bad guy isn't actually the villain we think it is? Turns out, the real problem is something totally different, a kind of chemical transformation, almost like internal rust that turns something helpful into something really, really dangerous. So yeah, let's get into it.
Welcome to Value Vest Daily, where we analyze all sorts of hot topics related to your health, your food, and your lifestyle. And today we are breaking down the real science of why cholesterol turns dangerous and how you can build a powerful defense plan with the food you eat.
Okay, before we jump in, just the usual quick heads up. Everything we're talking about here is for educational purposes. It's not medical advice. So for any personal health decisions, please always chat with a qualified healthcare professional.
So, here's our game plan for today. First, we're going to unmask the real culprit when it comes to artery damage. Then, we'll figure out what causes all the trouble, see exactly how it happens on a tiny molecular level, and then, the best part, we'll build our very own antioxidant arsenal with a clear dietary plan. Sound good? Let's go.
All right, let's get right to it. It's time to kind of reset what we all think we know about bad cholesterol and meet the actual troublemaker.
So check this out. Regular old LDL cholesterol, it's not inherently bad. In fact, it's totally necessary. You can think of it like a little delivery truck, just driving cholesterol around to your cells where it's needed for all sorts of important jobs. The real problem kicks in when that truck gets, well, damaged. When it gets oxidized. That's when it turns from a helpful delivery vehicle into a big red flag for your immune system, triggering inflammation and starting that nasty buildup of plaque in your arteries.
And the official name for this damaged particle is oxidized LDL, or oxLDL for short. It's what happens when normal LDL gets hit by these rogue, unstable molecules called free radicals. And this guy, this oxLDL, is a major, major player in atherosclerosis. You know, that hardening and clogging of the arteries that we definitely want no part of.
Okay, so that begs the question, right? What creates the perfect storm for this damage to happen? We need to understand the environment inside our bodies that allows these helpful particles to turn harmful.
This is probably the best way to think about it. It's just like metal rusting. Seriously, if you leave a piece of metal out in the elements without a protective coating, it's going to corrode. In our bodies, that protective coating is our antioxidants. And the sparks in air, those are the free radicals. Without enough protection, they start to rust our LDL particles.
And this whole rusting process, it's called oxidative stress. It's basically when things get out of balance. Lifestyle triggers like smoking and pollution, they just dump free radicals right into our system. But also high blood sugar, chronic conditions like hypertension, and this is the big one we can control, a diet that's just too low in those protective antioxidants. All of this creates way too many of those damaging sparks flying around inside you.
All right, let's geek out for just a second. We're going to look at the science, but I promise we'll keep it super simple. This is the play-by-play of how that helpful LDL particle gets chemically transformed into a harmful one.
So how does it actually happen? How does a perfectly good particle just turn to the dark side? Well, it happens through a really rapid, destructive process. It's a three-phase chain reaction called lipid peroxidation. First, in initiation, a single free radical acts like a spark, attacking an LDL particle and making it unstable. Then comes propagation. This instability spreads like wildfire from one molecule to the next, and the next, and the next. Finally, in termination, the reaction ends, but the damage is done, leaving behind that transformed inflammatory oxLDL particle.
Okay, so that's the problem. But the good news is we have a powerful solution. Let's flip the script and talk about your dietary defense plan. Let's see how we can fight back with the awesome power of antioxidants.
And I'm not just talking about wishful thinking here. This stuff is measurable. We're talking real numbers. Studies have shown that simply switching to a diet packed with antioxidants can potentially slash those harmful oxLDL levels by a significant 10 to 30%. That is huge. It just shows that what you put on your plate has a direct, powerful impact.
Now for the part you've been waiting for. Let's get practical. Let's get specific and look at the exact foods you can use to build up your body's antioxidant army. First on the list, fruits and berries. I mean, these guys are absolute powerhouses. They're loaded with polyphenols and vitamin C, which are basically free radical magnets. They just trap them and get them out of the way. And get this, one study found that just eating mixed berries every day dropped oxLDL by a remarkable 15% in only 8 weeks. That's amazing.
Next up are defenders, nuts and seeds. The hero here is vitamin E. It's so cool how it works. It literally wedges itself into the outer layer of the LDL particle, acting like its own personal bodyguard to stop that chain reaction we talked about. Just a small handful a day, about 30 grams, is a fantastic goal.
And of course, we have to talk about the staples of the Mediterranean diet. You've got that extra virgin olive oil loaded with a unique antioxidant called hydroxytyrosol. And then you add in all those colorful veggies and the omega-3s from fish. It's a full-spectrum defense system. Aiming for about 4 tablespoons of good olive oil and a couple cups of veggies a day can make a massive difference.
And you don't have to take my word for it. Just look at this data from the famous Pre-to-Med trial. It clearly shows the diet supplemented with extra virgin olive oil and nuts dramatically lowered oxLDL levels, way more than a standard low-fat diet. I mean, the difference is just staggering. This is powerful, real-world evidence of what these foods can do.
And hey, looking for some bonus boosters? You're gonna love this. Dark chocolate, we're talking the 70% or more good stuff, plus green tea and spices like turmeric. They help in this really fascinating way. They actually extend the lag time, giving your LDL particles more time before that destructive oxidation process can even begin.
Okay, we've thrown a lot at you, so here it is, all laid out on one handy summary slide. Think of this as your cheat sheet. You've got the food category, the key antioxidants they provide, a suggested daily amount, and the specific benefit that's been observed in scientific studies. It's a clear, actionable guide to protecting your health.
So, what's the bottom line? If you remember one thing from all of this, let it be this. A colorful diet, packed with a variety of plant-based foods, is your single best and most powerful defense against the LDL oxidation that leads to artery damage. It's that simple. Hey, if you found this information valuable, do us a huge favor and please subscribe, like, and share ValueVest Daily. It really helps us spread awareness of these life-changing topics covering your health and happiness.
And for our final thought, what's one antioxidant-rich food you're going to try to add to your diet this week? Let us know in the comments below. And hey, one more thing, please put in the comments if you want us to do a deep dive on any specific topic. Thanks for watching.